Welcome back to a new episode and a new season of our podcast, Unleashed. Today I'm here with Julie Thue Holthe, national team and World Cup winner, Nordic-style athlete. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
And today we will be talking about skijoring. So, Julie, could you tell us what skijoring is?
Skijoring is a winter sport where the athlete gets pulled by a dog, and the skier is wearing skis, and the dog has a harness.
What equipment does one need for this sport?
In skijoring, it's important to have ski boots and skate skis because you need to have good control on your skis. And you also need a belt so you can get connected to the dog, and a good leash and a good harness. I like to use the Namsen or the free motion harness.
So a proper pulling harness, and you mentioned the skating skis and the skating boots. So in skijoring, then it's this skating technique that one uses?
Yes, that's important to be a good skier and have a good balance. Or that helps a lot behind the dog.
So would you then recommend for people to be able to ski well before they start with skijoring, or like how does the skier's level have to be before they head into this sport?
It helps a lot to have a good balance, and good balance comes with a good training. So I really recommend go on some ski classes before you go out with especially a strong dog. If you have a smaller dog, it's easier to start without so much training before.
Are there any specific dogs that are maybe better suited for skijoring than others?
I think you can use every dog. It depends on your goal. If you want to compete, I will recommend using a GSP or a GSP mix or a pointer. But if you just want a training buddy, you can use any type of dog.
Yeah, because like you can just go out and have fun. Not everybody has to go with super speed. I think it's actually, I am not the best skier, but I find that it helps a little bit with the balance almost when the dog is pulling. Then like I have no time to fall, but like the dog is just pulling me out of these situations. So it's a very cool sport.
It is, absolutely.
Do you see any beginner's mistake, like when one starts, that is a common mistake that people do?
I think the most common mistake I see people do is to go too far and too fast with their dogs, and then dogs get injured and they get tired and lose their motivation, and then they don't have any good dog anymore because the dog is tired of going on those long trips every time.
But skijoring is like, the distance is pretty long, like it's 10 to 15 kilometers. How can one prepare for such a distance?
It is. I think it's very, very important to train on the distance you're going to compete in, and don't start in a race without knowing that your dog is capable of the distance. But I also think it's important to have those short sessions where you're just out for fun and the dog is have more than enough energy to do more, but you stop the exercise long before the dog gets tired. I think that's a key to get the dog motivated for more.
Because like dryland season, let's say one goes up to 6 kilometers on races. How do you build the distance? Or do you like maybe not race in dryland and focus only on the Nordic style? Or like how does one go from 6 kilometers to 15?
I'm so impressed of those who are competing both in dryland and the winter season, because I think it's hard to reach that distance so early in the season, in the dryland season. So this year I have skipped the dryland season because I think it's too hard for my dogs to compete in those the boats distance. But I go slowly forward. To build up the distance, you have to go slowly, and I used to have them free running in the start, and then I build it up so they can pull longer and longer.
So first you build like a good endurance base with like a lot of free running, and then just add on the pulling.
Yeah, and then I pull a little bit, and then they free run, and then a new interval. So I build up the distance that way, so they can run all the kilometers in their paws, but not pulling the whole way. And then when it's near the season start, they are pulling more and running less.
Yes. Talking about training, how do you combine your training and the dog's training? Like, can you combine it, or do you train the dogs and yourself completely separately?
You can combine it, and I do that sometimes, but I like to train myself first and then go out with the dogs, so I don't have a lot of spare time. But when I'm combining the trainings, I like to train intervals. Then the dogs are training one interval, and then they have rest, and then I go solo without the dogs, and the dogs free running, and then I switch. And that's a perfect way to have intervals for us both.
You have been doing amazing this past winter season, and I think you have like big goals for this upcoming season as well. How do you train yourself? It's probably like very interesting for our listeners to hear how like a very professional athlete is training for this sport.
Yeah, I train a lot actually. I have like 1 to 2 hard sessions a week, and I also have 1 to 2 long distance slowly, and I also train a lot of core. It's around 12 to 14 hours a week on myself in a perfect week, but I study beside, so it's not always I manage to have this much time to train, but that's the perfect way to do it.
And when you do like these hard sessions and long sessions, it's on skis and roller skis?
Yeah, in the summer I do a lot of roller skis, but also I do a lot of running. And in the winter it's mainly cross-country skis, but I also run inside.
Skijoring, it happens obviously when we have snow in the winter. So there is a big variation in temperatures. What temperatures do you train your dogs in, and what temperatures can dog do skijoring in?
I think it's perfect to train when it's like -7 degrees, but you can train up to -18 degrees, and that's also the limit for the competitions. But I was outside today actually, and then I take some paws booties on the paws because I wanted to protect them, and I also use a blessed jacket or some light jacket to protect them from the cold, because they don't have a lot of fur.
Yes, there's not much fur on these GSP type of dogs.
They get pretty cold fast.
I also see that many people don't know that with the cold, it's actually like when it's very cold, it's not about that like, oh, they will get cold and you have to dress them up. It's the same with people. Like if you breathe in the very cold air, then it's actually like not good for the lungs. So one has to be very careful with the dogs because they are not good at taking care of themselves.
No. I try to not train when it's super cold. Then I rather skip the training than make the dogs ill or injured by the cold.
Yeah. When you train in these like colder environments, are you doing a longer warm-up for the dogs compared to, for example, a dryland season?
Yeah, I can start with them free running and then put them in the harness and let them pull. I think it's important to be warm, but that's also in the dryland season.
Yes.
It's important to warm them up before you start.
So quite like explosive.
Yeah.
We talked about your training, but how does a training week for one of your dogs look like currently?
Now it's not so much snow outside, but I try to reach the snow. And I like to have like 3 to 4 good sessions a week. And I rather skip session than always have 4.
Yeah.
It depends on the dog. If it's tired and it was a heavy exercise yesterday, I skip the next one because I think it's all about the energy that the dog is capable of the next workout.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out and work out and it's not what I planned. But I also think it's nice to don't always follow the plan. If you see that your dog is tired, it has a off day, I quit the workout as fast as I see it's not working as planned.
Yeah. It's probably a lot smarter to do it this way because, yeah, for humans, you can explain that like, oh, yeah, it was like a bad day. Maybe, I don't know, you were a bit tired, but it's very hard to explain to the dog that like, oh, yeah, it's okay. You're just a little bit tired. This is not the normal, you know.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of complete beginners that probably never done this sport before. So how do you recommend for someone that whose dog has never done skijoring before or maybe is new to even pulling sports? How would you start with those dogs?
It depends on the age of the dog, but if it's a young dog, I will start to learn them the harness, wearing the harness, and make it positive. Go out and play in the yard or something, and it's fun to wear it. And then I will start with positive feedback when the dog is in front of you or are giving you the behavior you want, then give it positive feedback and just start slowly. Don't go fast forward. Take it slow and see. It depends very on the type of dog. Some dogs already just from you take on the harness and they want to pull.
Yes.
And someone is super scared of the skis. So take your time and look at your dog. And I think positive feedback on the right behavior is the way to go. Yeah. Don't be angry or on your dog.
Yeah.
Be positive because the dogs remember in pictures.
Yeah.
So if they are thinking, this was fun last time, then they will do it next time as well.
If a dog is scared of the skis, then would you first just like take them along when you're skiing free running, or how would you get them used to it?
Yeah, I think that's a good way to start with the puppy. Just let it be around the skis and see how it works and what's the way you're putting the poles down. And they know that you can brake and they know the sounds. Some dogs get scared of when you're braking with the skis. So
I also see it like the conditions change so much. So sometimes when it's icy, then suddenly the dog is like, "Oh, but what is that sound? I never heard that sound before." So it's a lot of things for them to get used to.
And when they're puppies, I make a lot of sounds, so they get used to it. So they don't get scared when it suddenly get a loud sound when they're older.
You talked about like you want them in front of you, but sometimes like on downhills, the dog cannot run as fast as you ski. Like what do you do then?
I brake, or is that the word?
Yeah, it is, yes.
Brake downhill and make sure that the leash is always straight.
Yeah, and tight.
Yeah, and tight. And it's helpful to have another dog with you. That's like they can hunt each other.
Yes.
That's helpful for me. But I have always had GSPs and GSPs mix, and they runs in their bloods. They want to go forward. Yeah. So it's super easy with that breed.
But it's very, I think even with them, it's very important to give them this confidence that, okay, like the leash will be tight no matter what. And it's never like pushing them forward.
They trust you, so don't ruin that trust.
If you could just give one tip to our listeners today, what would that tip be?
Go out, try skijoring, and just be confident and have fun with your dog. It's super fun to skijor.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you so much, Julie, for sharing your tips with us. And a lot of good luck for the upcoming season. We'll be cheering for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.